You smell different.
Animal-themed nail artist and cocktail waitress Frida is busy on Instagram and stumbles upon a video of the billionaire tech mogul Slater King stepping down as CEO through a public apology video for unspecified past behavior. Furthermore, Slater King is placing his CFO, Vic Mahoney, as the new CEO. Curious, Frida researched the man and discovered he was the CEO of King Tech, a technology company, and was involved in a scandal concerning abuse of power. On a morning show, Slater reveals that he recently bought a private island to distance himself from the controversy and connect with nature. Frida looks through her meager savings and expresses a wish for an opportunity for a vacation. Frida goes to her side job as a cocktail waitress, where her manager berates her for being late for their most important event, the King Tech Gala. Furthermore, he tells her not to be too chatty with Slater King, since Frida had shown him her nail art the last time he was there. At work, she meets her friend and roommate, Jess. Frida is so preoccupied with Slater during the event that she spills the cocktail on a guest. Later, after the event, Frida and Jess invade Slater's private get-together by wearing casual clothes. As Frida walks towards Slater, she accidentally bumps into another waiter and falls down. Slater himself appears to help her back on her feet, and Frida is mesmerized by him. Slater asks for Frida's name and introduces her to his therapist, Rich Stein. Slater then introduces Frida and Jess to all of their guests, who have no idea that these two were cocktail waitresses a while ago. Slater also appears to be charmed by Frida's charisma, but once the party is over, Slater's staff remind him he has to leave for his private island. Slater reluctantly leaves Frida's company. The moment Jess appears to chastise Frida for not taking Slater's number after all that conversation, Slater returns to invite the two to his private island. In Slater's car, they drive to Slater's mansion and are taken aback by the grandiose building. There, Slater's assistant, Stacy, confiscates their phones. Though odd, they have no choice but to comply. Slater's friends and business partners are in attendance: photographer Vic, private chef Cody, DJ Tom, graduate Lucas, and 3 female guests: reality show star Sarah, aspiring app developer Camilla, and lawyer Heather. Vic takes their first group photo to commemorate the moment. Slater shows Frida her private room, and she's too excited. The women are treated with lavish rooms, gift bags of perfume, and a holiday experience. After the shower, Frida is surprised to see a new dress waiting for her. A maid enters her room and suspiciously calls Frida Red Rabbit and holds her cheek. Noticing that Frida has no idea what she's talking about, the maid leaves with a look of disappointment, leaving her cleaning equipment behind. The guests gather together at the pool, where their experience is enhanced by high-end meals and cocktails prepared by Cody. Frida becomes jealous when she notices Slater giving Sarah more attention, and she pretends to have choked on a piece of fruit to gain his attention. Slater takes Frida to show her his garden. Frida is surprised since Slater has had a reputation for holding libertine parties with a lot of women. Slater agrees that he still uses stuff, though in controlled amounts, as therapy has turned him into a better person. When Slater asks if Frida herself is going to therapy, Frida says she doesn't believe in therapy, as she herself survived the traumatic experience of watching her mother attempt to end herself. Slater says his reason for therapy is to recover repressed memories from his traumatic childhood. Suddenly, Stacy, who is passing by, drops her stuff, and though Frida goes to help her, Slater tells her not to bother, as Stacy is incapable of asking for help. At night, the group is offered a lavish dinner by Cody. Slater raises a toast for Camilla for having sold an astrology app, but Tom, who does not believe in astrology, spoils the mood by joking about her app. To make matters worse, Vic comments that Cody's food needs more salt, and Frida accidentally stains her dress, making her the group joke. Vic then asks Frida what she's doing, and to change the subject, she says she's just discovering her options. Slater barges in to stop the mood from getting sour and says Vic is also discovering himself, despite being a Harvard graduate. For dessert, Vic offers the guests potent hallucinogenic. Together, the guests enjoy the effects of the stuff. At night, when Frida lays down to sleep, she notices that the stain on her dress has disappeared, as though it never existed. Over the coming days, the guests enjoy the same routine of spending their days lounging around and nights in stuff-induced euphoria. At night, Frida tries Slater's vape for the first time, though she's not used to it. The two grow closer during their conversations, and Slater is interested in her nail art. However, any further intimacy between them is interrupted when Slater gets up to go to bed, excusing himself since he has therapy in the morning. In the morning, Frida goes to Slater's office to return the vape, and there she meets Rich Stein again, who surprisingly doesn't remember her anymore. Rich is about to leave the island, and Slater offers him a red gift bag. Sarah becomes even more jealous when she sees Slater hanging around with Frida. Frida becomes unnerved by their isolated haven from the world and all the good times they've been having, predicting that something bad is about to happen. She asks Slater when they are leaving, and he replies whenever she wants. He wonders if she's not enjoying herself, but Frida says that's not the case. During another night of partying, the guests are shocked when Jess screams, exclaiming that she got bit by a snake. Slater kills the snake using a bottle. Jess wonders whether she should be taken to a hospital, but Slater assures her she will be fine and that there are no hospitals nearby. This incident shakes Jess. However, she privately tells Frida she wants to go home and thinks there's something wrong with the place. However, Frida is clearly mesmerized by the place and pleads to Jess not to spoil the mood since she's having the time of her life for the first time. Jess apologizes for her outburst and hugs Frida. However, when Frida returns to the party, we can see Jess's nose bleeding. In the morning, when Frida goes outside, she finds one of the red gift bags from earlier. While the men are away fishing, Frida discovers a room with dozens of identical red gift bags. However, before she can pry further, Frida is surprised by the maid from earlier, who seems to recognize her and calls her Red Rabbit. Frida also realizes that all the local workers sport the same snake tattoo. Frida is tricked into drinking snake venom by the maid and rushes out of the room. That night, they're partying resumes, but Frida also suffers from a nosebleed. Frida appears disoriented and disassociated throughout the day, as people around her make plans for the day. Frida suddenly realizes that Jess is missing. When she asks about her whereabouts, none of the other women remember her and are surprised by Frida's mention. Alarmed and terrified, Frida goes to look for her, nearly having a panic attack. She also notices Cody's missing knife on her sink top. A knock surprises her, and Frida opens the door to find Sarah, who has come to believe Frida's cries about Jess since they still have Jess's lighter with her name on it. Frida suddenly becomes paranoid, believing that they are losing their memories, and they can't even recall what day it is. Even Sarah begins to see this, despite having a great time. Frida occasionally wakes up with dirt under her nails, which she cannot account for, and Sarah has a wound on her arm. Even Sarah, Heather, and Camilla don't actually remember any of the people. Suddenly, the reality of their harsh decision descends on them. They trusted complete strangers with their lives on a private island. Recalling that Slater told Frida that forgetting is a gift, she takes Sarah to the room with the gift bags, only to discover that a flower indigenous to the island capable of wiping memories was incorporated into their food and perfume, which was given to them as a gift. Sarah questions why it is that only Frida can remember Jess, and Frida makes the final link with the snake venom, which removed the effects of the memory-wiping drug. Sarah drinks it without hesitation, and they offer it to Heather and Camilla as tequila shots. They even offer a shot to Stacy, who says the men will return soon from their fishing trip. Frida decides to sneak into Slater's office to retrieve their phones and tells Sarah to give her a signal should they return sooner. Suddenly, Sarah's nose started to bleed, and she became paranoid. When Cody surprises her from behind, Sarah actually punches his nose in panic. The men return, and Frida still hasn't recovered the phone. She uses a sculpture to break open the closet while Sarah distracts Slater from going after Frida. Frida recovers the phone, only to find they are out of power and service. Before Slater can reach his office, Sarah is able to signal to Frida that the men have returned. As she quickly tries to close the closet, Frida comes upon a collection of Polaroids featuring different women and men with red gift bags, revealing that Slater is inviting guests regularly and gifting them perfume to use when they are away from the island. When Slater returns, he appears to be suspicious while Frida is hiding under the table, but his cause for concern is revealed to be a red sofa. While under the table, Frida's full memories return, revealing the men have been assaulting them every night and wiping their memories using the flower. When Jess's memories could not be erased due to the venom, they ended her. Overwhelmed, Frida manages to make her escape and shares with Sarah what she remembered. As Camilla and Heather's memories return, Frida and Sarah decide to buy time for themselves, pretending everything is normal. However, pretending becomes harder and harder as more memories return. Frida recalls that even Rich Stein was part of it all. Slater notices that both Frida and Sarah are acting traumatized whenever he approaches them or talks to them, becoming suspicious. Frida decides to dance to prevent suspicions, and the entire group joins in. During the dance, Sarah conceals a weapon. Meanwhile, Stacy, Heather, and Camilla's memories return. Just as Slater notices that Frida is too paranoid, Camilla stabs Tom to death, to the shock of everyone. As Slater tries to stop her, Heather appears to kill Vic, and badly injures him. Meanwhile, Sarah fights Cody. Before Heather can kill Vic, she is shot by Stan, Slater's security guard and former Marine. He then goes to hunt for Frida, who hides in the forest, but she is booby-trapped. Before he can kill her, however, Sarah rescues her and kills Stan. They take his gun. Meanwhile, Slater has Camilla bound up and killed, and the men hide in Slater's villa. Stacy attacks Frida, preferring to be ignorant of the men's behavior, so Frida stabs her to death. The men send out Cody to reason with the women, but he is finished by Sarah. When Lucas becomes paranoid, insisting that he's innocent, Slater mocks Lucas for choosing to be inactively complicit by doing nothing to help the women. One of the Polaroids Frida had kept from Slater's stash reveals that Frida had been on the island the year before and experienced the same events, biting off Vic's pinky finger and scrapping her head on a rock before her memories were wiped. The maid recognized Frida from her red rabbit fingernails. They decide to hunt for Slater. Lucas tries to escape but is mistakenly shot in a trap set for Slater by Frida and Sarah, and Slater traps Frida in the villa. She tries to fight him, but is knocked out and tied by Slater. When she gains consciousness, Slater laughs off his recent apology, declaring, "There is no forgiving, only forgetting." Suddenly, Sarah starts shooting the place and tries to break in, but runs out of bullets. Slater goes outside to hunt for her and finds her in the swimming pool. He drags her out, gags her, and brings her back to the villa to finish her. It is revealed that, while he was gone, Frida laced his vape with the memory-erasing perfume. The effects make him forget the previous events and panic upon seeing the bodies. Slater slips and knocks himself unconscious as the villa catches fire. The maid rejoices as the two women escape, leaving Vic to die, but Frida saves Slater. Sometime later, Rich, who also assaulted Frida on the island, encounters a noticeably disoriented Slater. Frida is now married to Slater and is the CEO, all while stuffing his vape with the flower to keep him compliant, and the movie ends.